Joseph B. Jr., and I'm bringing on a very good friend of mine that comes out of the Inland Empire. I'm humble. I'm excited. I've been knowing this young man for a while, and I have been to this young man's facility to teach. He had me there, and it was a beautiful day. Now, this young man teaches young men on and off the field, and as I said, he does that through God. So now, I'm going to bring him on. His name is Art Hall. Now, Art, welcome.
Yes, thank you, Coach. Thank you. I want to also appreciate you, Coach, for all the things you do. Coach, you have you've been out here to teach our guys, and you've done a great job. You have a personal relationship with my son, who's a starting quarterback over at San Diego State. You spend a lot of time with him, and from the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate all you do as well, and we love you, and we consider you as family.
Well, he is a great young man, just like your other young ones. They're great, and your wife. When I came down to teach, I wanted the listeners to know it's a first class organization, and they treated me so well. When I went down there, they treated me so well, and I mean it was a beautiful thing. So again, we're gonna let Art go ahead on. He's gonna tell you how he started all the way up until now, the things he does as you know, at Rancho Cucamonga High School and all the various high schools around the Inland Empire. All right.
Yes.
Okay, I'm listening.
Okay, so TTGOG, excuse me, stands for To the Glory of God. We're an athletic ministry where we support the student athlete, and not just the student athlete, but primarily the student athlete through our FAA program, which is Faith, Academics, and Athletics. Our program started back in 2015. My son was a sophomore in high school at the time. Now, during this time, he was playing 7-on-7, and I would always send him individual messages prior to each game. And, each message would be in regards to what to watch out for, playing defensive back, the double moves, keeping his cushion in regards to his back pedal, but I would always remind him that he has one audience, which is God the Father. And I would always tell him that you do everything to the glory of God. And after a while, periodically from sending these messages while he was on the circuit, the To the Glory of God started to turn into TTGOG. One day I was sending him a message, and the abbreviation of To the Glory of God kind of illuminated off the screen. So instead of sending him To the Glory of God, I ended the message with the hashtag TTGOG. And he texted me back and was like, "Dad, what does that mean?" And I told him To the Glory of God, and he was like, "Oh." So at that moment, we took it to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of the various social platforms, and a lot of the kids were tapping in saying, "Hey, man, what does TTGOG stand for?" And my son would send me a screenshot of every kid that wanted to know what it meant, that he explained to what it meant, and the kids were like, "Hey, we want to get involved. We want to be a part of that. Can we start to use that hashtag as well?"
Beautiful.
So we said yes. So going into a senior year, a colleague of mine who had a facility had contacted me to come down and pray in the facility while it was being remodeled. So we went down there and prayed, and then he said, "Hey, you know what? We should have a prayer session before the season starts in 2016. I said, "That's a great idea." This was 6 months prior to our first prayer meeting. So 6 months prior, so the August comes, and we put out flyers or whatnot in regards to, hey, we're going to have a prayer for the season, for health and for safety. And during this time, I was like, man, is anyone going to show up? I don't think anyone's going to come, yada, yada, yada. Long shorter of it, got down to the facility, and there was about 70 kids there for prayer.
Wow.
So we took up the season prayer.
Something?
Yeah, it was amazing.
That's how God opens doors.
Right. And, even in my doubt, God was still showing me continue to go forward and don't worry. So we did the prayer, turned out phenomenal. And then immediately after the prayer, the kids were saying, hey, Unc, we got to have this every week. And I was like, no way. So we went from that one prayer in August of 2016 to currently having prayers every Thursday at 7 p.m. It's currently right now. So we started with that one and it carried all the way over to currently up until now. And it's just grown tremendously. You know, we are more than just about the X's and O's of football. We're more about saving souls, and we'll use any sport as a draw to get the kids comfortable. My pastor once told me that we have to allow kids to be kids because they'll be adults soon enough.
Yes, very true.
At that moment, you know, it dawned on me sometimes we're pressing the kids to mature sooner than they ought to, when we have to allow them to go through that process. And at TTGOG, we open up the doors to where, you know, what happens there stays there. And, you know, we get very candid. You know, we talk about everything, you know, not just sports, but with God and the scripture being the focal point, leading to how to be successful, not just on the field,
yes,
in life, at home, with your chores, within the classroom, within the community,
yes.
Obviously within the locker room, on the field. So yeah, we try to cover the whole gamut of whatever sport they're playing in, or just their life in general. You know,
and you know, when I came, I had noticed that it wasn't only the players that were there, but every parent was there.
Yes.
When I came down to train, and it was wonderful. And you had coaches came, and before we trained, we prayed. And after our training, we prayed.
Right.
And, you know, it was just a family thing. I mean, it was just, it was a beautiful thing. And to go back to your son, I loved training that young man, because the first thing is he's a great young man on and off the field, number one. Number two is he takes up everything. He listens to everything, and you see him do it. I watch on TV. I say, look at him. Look at him. He's reading it. I'll be excited. He's reading this case. He's reading it. I'll be screaming. I'm just so excited. And to see him accomplish the things that he has accomplished.
Amen.
Now, how do you feel about the things that he's doing over at San Diego State?
Well, the goal has always been for us, my children, was teaching them how to glorify God in everything they do. And my whole thing with my son was teaching him patience and preparing himself to be ready when the time comes, because I knew that he would be on the field sooner than later. So I had to make sure that he was prepared mentally, physically, and spiritually to fulfill the role that the football team needed him to fulfill.
Yes.
So, you know, when his opportunity came, you know, he was able to step right in, you know, and hasn't let up since he's been on. So he's currently the starting cornerback going into year 3, red shirt. He's graduating tomorrow virtually. So he'll still have 2 years of eligibility left to play, but he graduated in 3 years. So he's already been accepted into the grad school at San Diego State. So God has truly blessed him, and he understands that. We understand that, and our whole goal was always bigger than football. You know, we talk about the 40-year plan versus the 4-year plan. And the 40-year plan is setting things in place and prioritizing. That way, once football is over, you can then roll over into being successful into other avenues that you've learned based off of what you got at college.
And now, he's not the only one. How about your other son? How's he doing?
I have 4 girls, Coach.
Yes, sir. I know you do.
4 girls, 1 son. I think you're
So
talking
what
about
we'll
my
do
nephew.
is we're going right down the line. I want
Yeah,
right down
yeah.
the line.
So this
You know
just
me.
this year, actually this month, I have a daughter entering into high school. I had
Right.
a daughter just graduate from high school, getting ready to go into film school. And then I had my son just graduate um, tomorrow, getting ready to go into grad school. So it's been a very busy month here. May is one of those months for me because my wife's birthday is Sunday. My son has a birthday this month. Obviously, Mother's Day is this month. So um, we're having a good time this month. Absolutely, God is good.
All right. Now, my question again. Now, how is the community doing? Because I know you're all over the community doing
Community is
things.
thriving. It's
Oh,
thriving.
I know what you're doing with the young people, but you're also working with men and women that need
Yes.
your help.
Yes, the community is thriving. Even in the face of the adversity that we're currently facing with the pandemic, our whole message and goal is to not fear and to allow God to be God because our God is not a fragile God, right? Our God is strong and mighty. And, He's the same God that did all of the great things that we hear about in the Bible. And He's still available to do those things now. The important thing is to have faith. So throughout the community, it's important that we still send that message of power that God is still a God of power, and allow people to see that, because they need to hear that in this day. Because you turn on the news and you hear all kind of frightening things and what's going to happen and what's not going to happen, and for us, we have to be firm in what we speak and what we stand for. So when dealing with the student athletes and the parents, we have a platform where they can come here and encourage the word through social media. We can exchange messages or exchange phone calls whenever there's a need of encouragement or a question or a push in the right direction. We have all of that made available through TTGOG, and it's just it's an awesome understanding that you can go to a place where it can be a safe haven, and you can get encouragement, and you can get a virtual hug that can keep you going or push you in the right direction.
And that is so wonderful. And we all know that your wife works hard behind the scenes.
Oh,
So
yeah.
can we talk a little bit about some of the things that she does? Because when I was there, when I first got there, she made me feel right at home from the time I stepped in the door to the time I left to come back back to Victorville, because I'm out of San Diego into Victorville, California. But the time I was there and you invited me down, she was number one.
Yes.
From the time I got there to the time I left. So how is she doing?
She's doing phenomenal, man. I am truly, truly blessed and honored to have someone that supports the dream and the vision, and she gets behind it and push, through the administration, through prayer, which is one of the key aspects for us is prayer. Having a wife that will war for you through prayer kicks down a lot of doors that may have been shut naturally. So when you get to them, you can just walk right through. So through the administration standpoint, through the prayer standpoint, through someone that you have to bounce ideas off of that's going to be transparent, as well as keep it real. She's worth everything that she is. And I thank God for her because, again, there's no me without her and her support. So, yeah, she's doing great. Currently, right now, she's downstairs in her office preparing notes. Well, not notes, but listings for her clients, because she's also operating in real estate. She does a lot of work within the community through the real estate side. So that's where she is right now. And again, I'm elated to have someone in my corner that is pushing me towards the vision and not pulling me away from it.
That's true. I agree. And like I said, I am so blessed just to have you as my friend. But when you tell me I'm like family, I mean, you just don't know the feeling. You know, again, your young man down in San Diego State is always is going to do a great job, and on to the NFL. On to the NFL. We know that, you know, staying healthy is a big part of it. But we also know, as you hear me talk to him about all the time, is what he sees. That's what I'm always on him about. Do you see this into the extended zone? Because we want to slow time down. And you know what? I think time is slowed down for him, because if you could throw a speck of dirt on that side, Dan's going to get it.
Yeah.
You know, and I am so proud of your whole family, but I am so proud of that young man. Sometimes I just get so filled up inside, because, you know, he came from a young man till now. You know, and a lot of people don't realize it's hard to get into San Diego State.
Man.
It's hard to get into San Diego State. No less get on the football team. No less play.
Yeah. I work very closely with them.
And a lot of people don't realize that. And this young man has cracked it. You know, the first time he got to play, I knew then it was all over with. I knew that he was going to play forever.
Yeah.
And again, I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of you. I love you guys. I want you to continue to do what you're doing. I'm here for you whenever he needs me. All he has to do is pick up the telephone, and you know that I am there. And I want you all to stay safe. Put your mask on. Do your things you need to do, and tell your family I say that I love them and hello.
Absolutely. I just want to leave my my social media platform for anyone that would like to follow. The TTGOG brand, the Athletic Ministry. Twitter, we're at TTGOG1. That's at TTGOG1. On Instagram, we're at TTGOG.thevillage. TTGOG.thevillage. And I want to thank you for having me on. I would just like to say one thing to the viewers, that we do everything to glorify God. And if we do that, the success that God has awaiting us is inevitable.
Now, I know now, when you came on, we spoke to you about the SHARE program. Can you tell me what you may think about that?
About the what program?
About the SHARE program.
Oh, with the gentleman that was just sharing with me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. You know, I would like to look at it to, you know, really get my eyes on it, but for face value, it sounds like something that can expand. I know it's definitely something that we can use out this way in the Inland Empire. There's a plethora of teams out in this area. Football is still alive and well out in this area. So I think it's something that can definitely grow. And I would like to look at it, you know, to see where I can fit in and see how we can expand it to make it even bigger.
All righty. And I thank you. And I look forward to you calling me and say, Coach Lee, come down and do some stuff. I cannot wait.
Oh, it's coming.
You know, I'm excited. Whenever you need me, you know, my phone is always open for any player. As I know we're dealing with this virus, but as I'm letting you know, any player that decides that they want to call me and ask me questions or get better or how to read keys, I'm here for it. I don't have to be in their face. I can get on the phone and talk to them. Anything that you may need from me, I'm here for you. Awesome. You have a great day. Thank you for coming on my show. I am humble. I love you. Thank you so very much.
Love you too, Coach. Thanks for having me. You take care.
I will. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.